was going to start with the introduction part, but obviously we know each other already. Or do you want me to
I want you
start
to
from scratch?
exactly.
Okay. Okay. Hi everyone, how are you?
Hi.
Well, my name is Duc. I'm your new teacher. I'm 29 years old, and we are going to get to know each other today on a very different level because you guys are on the level of GE3, right? Mm-hmm. So we can just skip the my name is and I come from, okay? And yeah, to be honest, like to be able to introduce about yourselves, it takes a lot more than you think because many people, after studying English for a while, they think that just when every time someone asks, "Can you introduce about yourself?" they will think about what? Name, age, what else? Nationality, whatever, right? And what you studied or what job you're doing. But those things are more like the basic information about yourself that you don't really need to expose right in the first time you meet them. That would be really boring, you know what I mean? Sometimes, for example, when someone asks me, like, can you introduce something about yourself? I would say, I love singing. And then the conversation will last for like the next 10 minutes about music. They don't even need to know my name. To be honest, like in the Western culture, they don't really ask about a lot of things. For example, age, right? So today we're going to because we only have like 30 minutes, so we're not going to go through the whole different exercises, right? We're going to talk about the way that this character, her name is Monica, introduces herself, right? She doesn't introduce herself in a way that is like, my name is, of course she will, but it's more about answering a few very interesting questions that you later can apply into your conventional situations. Okay, but before we do anything, I would like you guys to read these 10 questions. Okay? Have you got them?
Yes.
Okay. So before even knowing about what challenge we have in this exercise, I would like you to close your eyes for 5 seconds and rearrange all the questions in your mind. Okay? 5 seconds. All right. Now we're going to listen to the audio.
Unit 1.
Now we're going to listen to the audio. And what do you have to do in this situation? I'm not going to ask you to do. I'm not asking you to go against your challenge right now or go through your challenge right now, because that is something that we will find out at the end. What I want you to do right now is to write down any words that you can remember and can write fast enough into a piece of paper. Okay, ready?
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
Recording 7.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you something about myself. My name is Monica Nielsen, and I live in a small town near Bologna in Italy. I think 3 words that describe me would be happy, talkative, and hardworking. One of the things I love about my lifestyle is that I love the house where I live. I live in an apartment with my boyfriend, and it's an old apartment in the historical part of town, so it's very beautiful. It's quite small, So I suppose that's one thing I don't like. My favourite smell is the smell of the sea. We live quite far from the sea here, but in the summer I love to drive to the coast and breathe the sea air. It makes me feel good. And finally, if I could change one thing about the past, I would bring my grandmother back. She was a lovely lady and I miss her a lot.
Okay. Alright, so if it was a real class, then I would ask you to give me your piece of paper so I can check your skill, like, what's the word? Scheming. You know, like the way that you know, like the taking notes skill. As in, like, because many people are good at taking notes, just like really like quick words, the words that they focus their attention onto. And that is very important when you do tests like this.
You can do
But,
it now.
huh?
I think you can just do
Yeah?
it.
Okay. Sure. Let's see. You got Monica, Italy, happy, talkative, hardworking, love the house, apartment with. Sorry, what is this?
Boyfriend?
Boyfriend. Boyfriend is good. Right.
Oh, London room. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Can I see the? Okay. Yeah, so there's one thing in common that you guys have, which is that when you write a keyword, when they do like taking notes, right? They don't write the whole sentence or the whole phrase, but just the keyword. All right. So, but it's okay because I'm asking you guys to write down as much as you can, so that is good. But based on what you have written, I want to hear stories before we get to know this woman, right, Monica. I want to hear your story, the story that you heard. Okay? Would you like to start?
I know Monica is from Italy. She is happy, talkative, and hardworking. She likes sea smell, and she miss grandmother.
Okay. Does anyone have a different story?
No.
Do you?
Same. I didn't catch up with anything.
You didn't get to hear anything.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay. Now we're going to answer the questions based on the story that our friend just came up with, right? I'm not saying that the story is correct or incorrect. Just based on the words that you could hear. Obviously, you couldn't hear any word, right? So, what we're going to do is to go through the questions, okay?
Was
And
there
then-
a question here?
Yes.
Okay.
We will go through each question one by one so that you can recall the vocabulary that you heard in the audio. Okay. Three words best describe you. Okay? Did you, at any point, did you hear any 3 words that came up together?
Happy,
Happy?
Hardworking.
Sorry?
Hardworking.
Hardworking? What else?
Luxurious. Luxurious.
Luxurious. Okay, so
Small.
small.
small. Did they come together like 3 in a row?
Don't remember. I don't remember.
You don't remember? Let's hear it again. Okay, so because the question, what is the question about? 3 best words, right? 3 words best describe you. So what you need to be aware of is that these three words might come up together. Okay?
Describe me or describe her in the video.
What do you mean?
I mean that you are asking three words. Best describe me, us, or describe her.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, three words that best describe you, and the audio we're listening to is about who?
Monica.
About Monica.
Monica.
Right? So we're going to find out if there's an answer for this question based on what Monica
Okay.
is talking about, right? And
Unit 1.
let's try.
Recording 7.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you something about myself. My name is Monica Nielsen, and I live in a small town near Bologna in Italy. I think three words that describe me would be happy, talkative, and hardworking.
Is it obvious enough for you to find out that she
Happy, talkative.
and
What is hardworking? I don't know.
what is hardworking?
The word before hardworking.
Which level are you? This is GE3. You don't know the
Yes.
word hardworking.
I know hardworking, but the word before hardworking, I can
Oh.
hear it.
Okay, can anyone hear it?
Talk.
Happy, talkative, and
Hardworking.
Hardworking, correct. Okay, so that means that we have got the answer for the first question. Right? Let's go through the second question. Okay, so what is the second question? What is the key word for the second question? What is your idea of perfect happiness?
keywords is happiness. Perfect happiness.
Idea.
Idea. Are you sure?
Yes.
What?
Okay.
Is your
Alright, so I would say that the key word for the second question is perfect happiness, which is like the center of the question, right? And I'm gonna play the first part of the
Unit
audio
1.
to see if you can hear anything relating to perfect or happiness or idea, like you said, right?
Recording 7.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you something about myself. My name is Monica Nielsen, and I live in a small town near Bologna in Italy. I think three words that describe me would be happy, talkative, and hardworking. One of the things I love about my lifestyle is that I love the house where I live.
Okay, so what did you hear after we finished the first question about the three key words, which was happy, talkative, and hardworking? What came after that? What came after those three words? Could you hear any word that came after the three words?
How she live?
Okay, the how she lives, right? So we have these questions. Does any of these questions mention about a house or something that relating to like living and
Lifestyle.
exactly? Okay, so lifestyle is a word that matches the idea about a house to live in, right? What does it tell you? It will tell me that the second, the third, and the fourth question do
No.
not have the answers,
No.
right? According to the timeline of the audio, correct? Do you get it?
Yes.
Because why? Because the first question comes up with the answer, and right after the answer that you could hear very clearly, you hear something about lifestyle.
But I don't hear perfect happiness.
Exactly. This is the way that we can identify which question is holding an answer. So obviously, after the answer for the question number 1, a statement that comes up with lifestyle, right, shows up, which means there is a possibility that question number 2, 3, and 4 don't have an answer. Okay? So to save our time, when we become aware that question number 2, 3, 4 might not have the answer, we will just skip these 3 questions. Okay? And try to answer the questions that we feel like, oh, that relates to this. Because if you keep looking for an answer for question 2, 3, and 4, you will never be able to find them. That is the quick way to do it. Okay? You don't have much time for exercises like this. Okay, so we are going to answer the question number 5, right?
Unit 1. Recording 7.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you something about myself. My name is Monica Nielsen, and I live in a small town near Bologna in Italy. I think 3 words that describe me would be happy, talkative, and hardworking. One of the things I love about my lifestyle is that I love the house where I live. I live in an apartment with my boyfriend, and it's an old apartment in the historical part of town, so it's very beautiful.
Okay? So, back to the question. What do you like most about your lifestyle? What did she say?
She liked the house she and her boyfriend live.
What exactly? One of the things that I love about my lifestyle is that I love the house where I live in. And could anyone hear any more details about the house that she lived in?
It's out of town.
Out of town. And what else?
Small.
Well, it is an old apartment, okay, in an historical part of town. Okay, so we have sorted question number 5. Now we're going to listen to the rest, and what the idea that comes up that relates to any of these questions will tell us which questions we should focus on and which questions we should skip. Okay?
Unit 1.
The whole point of this exercise is that you become aware of the ideas that come up that relate to the questions that matter, to not waste your time on the questions that don't. Okay?
Recording 7.
Okay. One of the things I love about my lifestyle is that I love the house where I live. I live in an apartment with my boyfriend, and it's an old apartment in the historical part of town, so it's very beautiful. It's quite small, so I suppose that's one thing I don't like. My favourite smell is the smell of the sea. We live quite far from the sea here, but in the summer I love to drive to the coast and breathe the sea air.
Okay. What statement did she come up with? Could you identify the statements that she came up with? Normally when they start a new statement, a new issue or a new topic, you can hear that they will
Stop.
and slow it down. Right? Stop to because that's natural. You stop the idea that has finished, and then when you go into the new idea, you clarify it first by slowing down your voice, or stressing, you know. So what did you hear in here?
Ooh. So I suppose that's one thing I don't like. My favourite smell
Em có thể điều chỉnh
is
một cái độ cho con được không? Một cái thôi, cái bản thôi.
Continue. Okay.
something I don't like. My favourite smell is the smell of the sea.
Okay.
We live quite far from the sea here.
Yeah, sorry. So you also heard something that she didn't like before the new statement that she made. Can you remember that?
Small.
Exactly. Correct. Yeah. So what was the words that she came up with in the statement that came after? The smell of the
Sea.
smell of the sea. And that answers which question? Can you look into your questions and find out which question did she?
Number 6.
answer? Number 6. Okay. But she only answered how many parts of the question? We have favorite sound, smell, and taste. What is the factor that she mentioned?
Smell.
Smell of the sea, right? Good. That means that we have question number 1, number 5, and number 6 answered. Okay. Question number 7, 8, 9, and 10. What do you find interesting in there?
Interesting.
What do you find interesting? I mean, which word or which phrase that rings the bell in your mind?
About Monica or about me?
About Monica, of course. About Monica. Because we have listened to this audio before, right? What word or phrase rings the bell?
Change one thing about the past.
Change one thing about the past. Okay? How about yourself? The past, right? Past. What did she say that relates to the past?
Grandma.
Grandma. Okay? Something old, right? So we will find out if the next statement that she comes up with relates to question number 10. Okay?
Unit 1. Recording.
Breathe the sea air. It makes me far from the sea here, but in the summer I love to drive to the coast and breathe the sea air. It makes me feel good. And finally, if I could change one thing about the past, I would bring my grandmother back. She was a lovely lady, and I miss her a lot.
What did she say about her grandmother?
If she can change the past, she will bring her grandma's back.
That's correct.
She is lovely. She is lovely.
She is.
Yeah. May I join?
Yes, for sure. She is a lovely lady. And
Monica.
and how does Monica feel about?
She miss her a lot.
She misses her a lot.
Yes.
That's correct. Okay. So even before knowing the challenge that we would have to do with this exercise, we have already finished the challenge, which was to find out the answer. Find out the questions among these 10 questions that came with an answer, and then answer them. Right. So what did we have? Question number 1, 5.
I know 2,
No,
5,
1, 5, 6,
6, 10.
10, right? And have we answered them?
Yeah.
Yes.
We have. That is very good. And yeah, so we're going to listen to this one more time with the text already prepared. Because you know that when you're doing the test, a lot of details will not be able to go through your mind, go across your mind, because that is not when you have to write down the whole thing, but you need to focus on the words that ring the bell. You know, the words that make you pay more attention than the others. Okay? And we're gonna listen to it one more time to see if the story that Ian
Yes.
came up with at the beginning is correct or not.
Recording 7.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you something about myself. My name is Monica Nielsen, and I live in a small town near Bologna in Italy. I think 3 words that describe me would be happy, talkative, and hardworking. One of the things I love about my lifestyle is that I love the house where I live. I live in an apartment with my boyfriend, and it's an old apartment in the historical part of town, so it's very beautiful. It's quite small, so I suppose that's one thing I don't like. My favourite smell is the smell of the sea. We live quite far from the sea here, but in the summer I love to drive to the coast and breathe the sea air. It makes me feel good. And finally, if I could change one thing about the past, I would bring my grandmother back. She was a lovely lady, and I miss her a lot.
Unit 1.
So,
Record.
what do you think about the story that Ian came up with? Was it correct?
Yes, it's correct.
It is correct. Okay. So, that's it for this exercise. Thank you.